Frugalsim videos are powered by Jetline Systems.
You know what? I wasn't lost at all. There's the runway. We're taking 2-0 today. So, let's bring up the checklist once again, do things right. So check, check, and check. We're going to do ground check, which is a run-up check. So parking brake rich. Sorry, parking brake rich. Parking brake on. Good. There must be an easier way of checking through these and moving to the next item. But anyway, check. Mixture for rich, which it is. Check. Prop, max RPM. Now would be a good time to turn off. Reset and turn off track IR. So prop RPM is max RPM. Check. Throttle, 2000 RPM. Which is there. Magnetos. I'm going to go left first. There's our drop, which is good. Back up to 2000, then we go right. Back up to 2000, good. Check and check. Magneto's now back on both. Vacuum gauge, check. Not sure where the vacuum gauge is. And because of the aforementioned buget, it's not highlighting stuff. Oh, let's reset that one. 3012. So we'll say we're good. Check. Oil pressure and temperature are good. Ammeter is good. We do have a good voltage there. We can test that by turning on and off the lights, incidentally. See that? That's good. Annunciators test. Yep, all lighting up and all turning off. Check. Exercise, then full forward on the prop. So there we go, and full forward. Check. Alternate air is still off. Check. Aux boost pump, so the fuel pump, we just turned that off. Fuel pressure, check. There, it's in the green. Engine idle should be at 600 or 650 RPM, so throttle all the way back now. It's 800, dropping, 700. It is actually still dropping a little bit. Yeah, we'll say good. Throttle, 1200 RPM now, please. Check. Before takeoff checklist, battery switch on, yes. Alternator on, yes. Strobes. Such as they are. On. Landing light is on. Aux boost pump now goes back on. Check. We have auto switching on the fuel tanks. So check. Engine gauges. We're all good. Check. Mixture full rich. It is. Check. Prop RPM is max. Flaps set and check. We're not going to use any flaps for takeoff today. Trims set. Cabin door closed and latched. And then we're into takeoff, which is parking brake release. Throttle full. Maintain the axis. Check working. Rotation at 65 and climb out at 78 knots. Flaps up above at 300. Well, we're not going to use the flaps for takeoff. And then we're looking at climbing out at 78 and then best rate of climb at 89. So let's do that, 78 and 89. Reset my view. Turn back on my camera. Oh, I disabled it on the keyboard. Let's try that again. It is nice to have an involved aircraft in MSFS. I know you can do cold and dark and run through checklists in the other aircraft, but this one's a lot more accurate compared to the stock. So it's nice to have something like that, something you do need to use properly, or else Just Flight's aircraft do model failures of various kinds. Right, here we are. Okay, reset the view. I'm actually pretty nervous. Power up. Gonna rotate at 65, climb at 78, 89 is best rate to climb. Using the throttle to keep rudders to keep myself centered. 60 knots. There's our 65. Rotate. I'm gonna climb out at 78, which is about there. Trim that nose down a little bit. Once we get above 300 feet, we'll set our best rate of climb, which is 89 knots. At this point, we can turn that fuel pump off. There's our 300 feet, so we'll trim this to climb at 89. There's 80, 85, a bit more aggressive on the trim, please. That'll do it, 1,000 feet. So like I said, we're going to do maybe a pattern, just fly around a little bit, get a feel for the aircraft. So we're going to bring the nose down, trim it out, pull back the power. Okay, so let's work on trimming the aircraft here. It's actually pretty fisky. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that the wind farm off the south coast is actually in the sim. That's really cool. I regularly take trips down the seafront here where I live, which is just up the road from Shoreham, and see that in the distance. Didn't know it was in the sim. Good job, Asobo. Let's fly over and take a look, shall we? We'll try to maintain 1,000 feet, and that'll be good for us to practice getting the aircraft in a stable trim for straight and level. So we'll get 25 squared. So 25 on the manifold pressure, 25 on the RPM. Whoa, started to turn there. Bring it back where it should be. There's our 1,000 feet. That is beyond cool. It's actually pretty hard to trim this for straight and level. I want 1,000 feet. I'm actually struggling to get this trimmed up correctly. The aircraft just wants to fly, which is good. So 1,100 now. There we go. So there's 1,000 feet. Trim. I think I've got it. A little bit of rudder trim now so we keep turning. Actually got it. It's nice. It's nice and involved. I'm enjoying this. Alright, we're going to turn back. Now, the sun is over there, so... Can we pop this down? We can. Let's keep the aircraft level. Go a standard rate turn, 30 degrees bank. Feeding in the rudder to stop the slip. A little bit of back pressure on the yoke now. Head on back. So no doubt you guys want to see what this is like outside. I don't really want to use the autopilot. So let me make sure this is still trimmed now we come out of that turn. think we are. So we'll pop over the camera and we'll go external. Turn track IR off. There we go. Pretty cool. Beautiful looking aircraft. It sounds good. I love that droning sound of the engine. Handles like a dream. Is this retractable gear? What a muppet. What a muppet. Okay. Let's turn track IR back on. We'll go back in the cockpit. Retractable gear, frugal, which means I've now got to retrim the aircraft because now we're really climbing. Luckily I didn't exceed the speeds for gear down. Dum dum. First impressions, first flight. I don't know why I thought this was fixed gear. I think because it reminds me of a Comanche or a Cherokee. Handles like a dream. I really like this plane. I've really got to fly this in VR. I like this a lot. Alright, so there's Shoreham, or Brighton City Airport off to the left now. We're not quite on a downwind course. Oh, now the speed's coming up. This is getting frisky. So smooth. Alright, admittedly this is only first impressions. This is only my first flight. But, get it. Get this aircraft. Oh my god. This bodes very well for the future. Looks like Just Flight's development team really have a good handle on MSFS. This is fabulous. However, worth bearing in mind that we have seen a bug. Some of the things don't highlight. I don't know whether that's Just Flight's problem or Asobo's problem. Not sure. That's a real pain though, working through a checklist if you're unfamiliar with the aircraft, as I am. That's the first thing. Second of all, Asobo are aware that their sim is lacking in some areas and they're doing regular patches, and it seems every time they do a fairly big patch, Just Flight are having to patch this and release an update. So if you do get this, pay attention to your account page on justflight.com and make sure you have the latest version and you're keeping it up to date. Flying over the South Downs now. Oh, picking up a little bit of turbulence there, as we should. I like this. I like this. It's really involved flying it. As it picks up speed, it wants to climb. It's quite hands-on. I really like this aircraft. Do some longer trips with this now. I have work today. I don't want to go to work. I want to fly this all day long. Alright, clear on the left, so we're going to turn. Try to keep straight and level again. Not straight and level. Try to keep it level in the turn. Bring us down to 1,000 if we can. That should be base. Well, as we come out, picking up speed, so climbing. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. God, I'm so happy we're starting to get good quality aircraft now in MSFS. I know there's a few out there now, but this is only my second third-party aircraft I've tried in the sim. The first, of course, being the Blériot, which I also adore. But this is more practical. Alright, let's turn final. We're not going to land. We'll keep flying for a minute. Yep, there's our runway. So what I'm going to do, a little cheat I do in the sim. I'll line up with the runway parallel to it there. I'm going to turn my heading bug so I know where the runway is. Whoops. Zoom. So runway is actually about there, although it's 20, it's closer to 21 there. Good. I can use that now as a reference to see when I'm base, crosswind, and so on and so on. Beautiful. Alright, so let's set this up for a pattern to land. Pop over the checklists. What have we got here? Let's bring up the lists. Landing. Well, we want to do approach actually first. Landing light is currently on. Fuel selector is automatic. Don't have to worry about that. Aux boost pump. We'll turn that on. Mixture is full rich. Prop lever. Max RPM. Which it is now. We'll let the speed come down. We'll drop the gear. And then we'll work through the flaps. Let's get back up to 1,000 feet here and we'll turn downwind. Drop the power. Whoa, there's my warning. That's a gear warning. Don't go minimum power without gear down. Now we can go gear down. Okay, now I can go minimum power. Come on, get up. And that should be a downwind heading now. Oh dear, putting out all that drag. Massively have to retrim because we lost a lot of altitude. Get this back up to about 1,000 feet. We are in the white arc, so flaps. It's actually very tricky. Once you put out all that drag of the flaps and the landing gear, it's like a top, a cork in a bath. It's bobbing around all over the place. It's fabulous. Really involved. I love it. Now I know my flying today is pretty terrible. It is a first impressions. It is my first ever flight in this aircraft. I am a little rusty as well. Okay. And we are actually full flaps. Got to set up a control for my flaps rather than using the mouse next. It's not that easy to be to finesse that flap lever. See A27 down there. Let's see how we do on the landing. Boink, boink, boink. Lots of bumpiness. Gosh! You put the power in and that nose just balloons. Oh, jeez. Help. Lovely. It looked worse than it was. Alright. Pretty terrible flying skills. But first ever flight, first impressions. Absolutely adore this aircraft. Hello. There's a taxiway to nowhere. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Turn the fuel pump off now. Turn the strobes off. Fantastic. Good job, Just Flight. Going to spend a few more hours with this. I think I'm probably going to do the full review at about 10 hours in. Obviously right now I'm 1 hour in. I'll let you know what I think. As always, thank you so much for watching. My name is Frugal, and I'll see you all very soon.